just now, I laid 2 stones here at Bondi Beach that I brought with me from the holy city of Jerusalem, from the land of Israel. In Jewish tradition, we place stones on graves to represent the endurance of memory, the weight of loss, and the unbreakable bond between the living and those we have lost. These stones from Jerusalem, the eternal city, the eternal capital of Israel, will remain here at Bondi for eternity, in sacred memory of the victims, and as a reminder that the bonds between good people of all faiths and all nations will continue to hold strong in the face of terror, violence, and hatred, and that we shall overcome this evil together. Dear bereaved families, Premier, Mayor, Jewish and Israeli leaders, Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen, Shalom to all of you. I've just landed here in Sydney from Israel with my wife and our delegation for an official visit to Australia at the invitation of Governor General, Prime Minister, and the Australian Jewish community following the horrific anti-Semitic terror attack carried out right here on Bondi Beach on December 14th, 2025. This very beach, beloved by the Australian people and symbolic of all that's great about this beautiful nation, became the scene of the deadliest terror attack in Australia's history. 15 innocent souls who gathered to celebrate Hanukkah, the festival of light, were massacred in cold blood by 2 Islamist terrorists. The youngest victim, Sweet Mathilda, was just 10 years old. The oldest was 87-year-old Alex Kleitman, who survived the extermination of 6 million Jews in the Holocaust, only to be murdered for being a Jew on the beaches of Sydney, Australia. These vile terrorists specifically and deliberately targeted our sisters and brothers, Australian Jews. Yet, this was also an attack on all Australians. They attacked the values that our democracies treasure: the sanctity of human life, the freedom of religion, tolerance, dignity, and respect. This is how terror operates all around the world. And sadly, Israel has faced deadly threat of terror for many, many years. In the face of this evil, we saw the very best of humanity. Suddenly, here on Bondi, surfboards became trenches and stretchers as ordinary people ran into the danger and saved innocent lives. And in the aftermath of the attack, the people of Australia stood together in grief and solidarity with the Jewish community. The world's only Jewish state, the State of Israel and the Nation of Israel, stood together with the Australian people. We stood with Australian Jews, for we are one big family, and when one Jew is hurt, all Jews feel their pain. That is why I'm here today, to embrace and console the bereaved families. Anti-Semitism here in Australia is not a Jewish problem. It is an Australian problem and a global problem. Over the generations, one thing has become clear: hatred that starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews. This is why the current rise in anti-Semitism around the world is a global emergency, and we must all act to fight against it. I welcome the positive steps already taken by the Australian government to tackle anti-Semitism since the Bondi attack. Leaders across all sectors of society must speak out clearly and consistently against anti-Semitism, because silence in the face of hatred is complicity. Let me end by praying for the souls of the victims and the speedy recovery of the wounded, some of whom we've seen here. And bless. Adonai oz la'amo iten, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. May God give strength to his nation. May God bless his nation with peace. Thank you.
We'll take two questions from Australian media. Caroline Marcus.
President Herzog, thank you for your visit. You've had the chance to meet with families and victims today for the first time. Many of them have spoke about their frustrations about the lead up to this attack. Do you share those frustrations? Could more have been done to prevent such an attack on the Jewish community?
These frustrations were shared by many, many of us, including myself, where I alerted as I've seen this wave surge all over the world, and I've seen it in many countries, including Canada, Great Britain, the United States, and Australia, all English-speaking countries. And I've alerted way in advance, as well as many others, and that is why I understand this frustration clearly. And I hope the steps that were recently taken will bring change. This has to be a consistent, ongoing effort to change reality.
A question from Israeli media.
Mr. President, the anti-Israeli saying of Australia's leaders denied the antisemitism. What should the state of Israel should do against such expressions, even from friends like Australia?
I differentiate between debate and arguments between nations and between a clear understanding of one inherent element in the equation. Israel is the only nation state of the Jewish people. The International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, which was adopted all over the world, clearly states that attacks and undermining the whole notion of the nation state of the Jewish people and its right to self-determination and the right to defend itself is anti-Semitism. And I think this has to be disseminated. You can argue on policies. We argue on policies. But it's a total different ballgame where ongoing attacks and criticism and agony and pain of Jews who are citizens of any country, including this country, and we see ourselves as the protectors of Jews all over the world, are attacked and harassed in other countries. And in Australia, which is a model democracy, it must not happen.
Sorry, I'll give you the mic.
President Herzog, standing here at this solemn site where 15 people were killed indiscriminately, there are protests planned today in Sydney for people who are mourning 70,000 killed in Gaza, including 20,000 children. Can you reflect on what is the message to protesters, if you have one?
Sure. First of all, it is important for me to say that I've come here in goodwill and in a message to the people of Australia. Australia and Israel are close friends and allies since the days of old. It was Australian soldiers who liberated the Holy Land as one of the greatest steps towards the creation of the homeland of the Jewish people. And it was Australia who was the first nation to declare and recognize Israel at the United Nations. And Australia is a close ally for years. And Israel was always a bipartisan issue in Australia. These demonstrations, in most cases, what you hear and see, comes to undermine and delegitimize our right, my nation's right, the nation which I am the head of state of its mere existence, and is contradictory to whatever ever was said and done by Australia. And we did not seek that war. On October 7th, our nation was attacked terribly, and people were butchered, murdered, raped, and burnt, and abducted. We have here bereaved Israeli families who came from the kibbutz Nir Oz, and came from the war in order to express their condolences here at Bondi, but also to make a clear statement and a message. We should all fight terror together. Terror is what undermines the whole availability of peace and the notion of peace in our region. As always, it was always the case and is always the case. And therefore, terror is unacceptable by any means.
Thank you. One last question by Israeli media. Yair.
The microphone.
Turn that microphone back. Top.
President Herzog, good morning. I would like to share with you a short story about a woman that has just met before a couple of moments. When we arrived to the hotel, we met a woman named Ella Bella. When she heard us speaking Hebrew, she started to cry. She showed us a high necklace hidden under her shirt and said that she was moved by your visit here. She asked that you, as the President of Israel, demand the Australian government protect the Jewish community here. So I want to ask you, please, President, what will you say to the leaders of this country regarding this? And what is your answer to Ella Bella? And the last question, what does the official visit mean to you, personality?
So first, Ella is a sister of ours, of all of us. She's an Australian sister and she is a Jewish sister. And she's dear to our hearts like every Jew around the world. And no Jew should feel harassed, and no Jew should feel that he's limited in any way in expressing her or his Jewish identity. And this, unfortunately, is the main challenge of fighting and combating anti-Semitism. This visit means a great deal to me, and my wife and I and our delegation are very moved to be here. We were shaken to our core when we first heard about the Bondi Beach attack. Our heart missed a beat, like all Israelis and all Jews. And I'm here to express solidarity, friendship, and love. And I also believe that this is an opportunity to upgrade the relations between Israel and Australia, because we are two democracies that share values together, and we are confronting the roots of evil from all over the world. And we should do so together. And finally, I want to send a message to our brothers and sisters all over the world. You're not alone. The nation and the state of Israel are with you. The Jewish people are with you. We should stand together, and we should be proud of our identity, our Jewish identity. Thank you.